So my name is Alejandra, and I'm a clinician here at this high school. Before we start our session, there's just a few things that I want to go over. One of them being confidentiality. Do you know what confidentiality means?
I think so. I mean, like whatever we talk about will stay between us.
Yeah, that's exactly it. But there's just some things that if you do tell me, I have to report. So if you say anything about child abuse, any kind of abuse, elder abuse, I have to report that because I am a mandated reporter. So I do have to report that. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's start by you telling me some of the issues that you're having.
Um. Well, October is a really busy month, and like I have midterms coming up, and then it's time to apply to colleges, and it's just like all together. It just seems like a lot. Like it's all coming at once. And then I am volunteering at like to have community service hours, and like they're starting to give me responsibilities. So yeah, like in the beginning it was just like I was just like doing orientation or they were like kind of training me, but now I'm actually like having to do things on my own. So it's just overwhelming like having everything together like I said before. It's really overwhelming.
And do you feel like you can handle all this stress by yourself?
Most of the times I think I can, but sometimes no, like I feel like it's too much and I really don't know how to cope with it.
Well, what do you usually do when it gets too much?
I don't know. I mean, I usually like listen to music by myself, or I don't know. I think I just space out like that. That helps me with like my fear and anxiety. But sometimes I just feel like I'm avoiding it.
You mentioned something about having fear and anxiety about it. What is it that, what are you having about fears and anxiety about everything that's going on with you right now?
Uh, I'm just afraid that I'll fail or that like I won't get into the university. Like the idea alone of not getting in, like I've had this plan like to go straight from high school to get into the university. So just the idea of not getting in, like it gives me anxiety and like the whole process of it, like applying and just doing it for nothing.
Well, it sounds to me like you're very committed into getting to a college and that it's always been your plan. But it seems so overwhelming right now that right in front of you and that you have to do this application process. But at the end, there's no guarantee that you're going to get in.
Yeah.
Well, for me, it sounds like you're prepared, but yet you feel that you're doubting yourself.
I mean, yeah, that could be it.
Well, you mentioned something about community service, like you're getting a lot of experience through that. So, what's the main issue? Like, what makes you feel like you won't get in? Because it seems like that's your most like prevailing fear for you.
Um, I don't know. I think it's just like every person I talk to, like my teachers, my supervisor at where I volunteer, they tell me that I have a shot that I'll get in, but it's just like me doubting myself and not thinking I'll get in, or like I don't know, like I feel like I'm confident in my abilities, but it's there's just that insecurity of like of me not being able to get in, or like others being better, and you know, um, like maybe I'm not ready or not prepared enough.
Well, you mentioned all these people that are encouraging you. How does that make you feel? Like, do you think that it's coming from a good place, or do you think like you're gonna let them down?
I think it's a little bit of both. Um, I feel like they're encouraging me because they want me to do good. They want me, to have a bright future. But I also feel like it can be a little bit negative because if I don't get in, then I'll have like that, I let them down. Like, so I put that pressure on myself as well, like of not letting them down.
So you have all this pressure from school and from midterms and your responsibility for volunteer, and then you have the pressure that you put on yourself, and then um, the pressure that you have yourself because of you getting into your university has always been your goal, but then you also have this added pressure that you think that other people might be putting on you. So now that I mentioned all the stresses that are coming out of your life, do you think that makes it a little bit more clear for you, or do you think it makes it a little bit more overwhelming?
Mm, I think it's overwhelming to hear everything out loud, honestly. Like, but hearing just like where each stress belongs, I think that helps out. So a little bit of both.
Well, we divided like where all your stresses are coming from, and what I want to try to do is tackle them one at a time and kind of focus on one group each day to kind of make it less stress for you. How does that sound?
It sounds good.
Okay, so it seems that midterms are the most recent pressure because in a couple weeks they're going to be gone. So, how are you feeling about your midterms right now?
Well, I just took one on Monday, so I feel pretty good about that one. Um, but I still have that insecurity about exams. It's more like the studying part because I feel I don't know how to study well. Also, I don't like writing papers, and like I feel okay. Like I know I'm going to get it all done, but it's just I don't want to.
Okay, so all the assignments that you have to do for your midterm, how many of those have you completed and how many of those are left?
I think I've completed three, and it's like two or three I have not done yet.
Okay. So it sounds to me like you have half of them done, and there's still half of them that you need to complete. But the half that you have finished, you're feeling pretty confident about it. And um, do you think that that confident can move towards the ones that you haven't completed yet?
I mean, yeah, kind of. It feels good to complete things in a timely fashion, but I have people helping me out and encouraging me to finish on time, and it feels good. Um, it motivates me to continue for like all my midterms. I just hope that I don't break my streak.
So it sounds to me like you have a really good support system, and I want you to, I want, I want to plan out a kind of something that would suit for you, and kind of get you ready for this midterm, so we can kind of reduce that stress and make you focus on other things that's going on in your life. Can you tell me some of the assignments that are coming up?
I have, I think, two papers and two projects.
Okay, and are they all due at the same time or different times?
The two papers are due the same day towards the end of the month, and then the projects they're due the same week, but one of them is due on a Monday and the other one's due on a Wednesday.
Okay, well, it sounds like your projects are coming up first before your papers. Like, how are you prepared for your projects? Have you started on them?
I haven't started on one, but the other one I feel pretty good about it.
Are you usually good at getting your projects done?
Yeah, kind of.
Okay. Well, what about your papers?
I hate writing papers. Um, I don't know. I usually can't find motivation for them, like to get us started.
So I think we should focus on your papers. But let's kind of make a goal for you. Let's start with like writing one page each day. So by the end of the week, you'll have like 7 pages. Do you think you can commit to something like that?
Yeah.
Cool. Well, I'm going to write down a contract and kind of put our plan into paper so you can sign it. Do you have any questions about anything?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Well, this is going to be the end of our first session. And we talked about all the stresses that you have in your life, and we kind of put them into 4 little groups. And today we talked about the first group. And when you come back next week, we're going to talk about the process that you've been doing with your first group. And then we're going to look at the other ones and try to tackle them down. Um,
Sounds good.
cool. How do you feel about the process so far?
Um, it feels good. Even just talking about the first groups is less overwhelming. It's more clear about like how to cope with things, and we have grouped like my stresses out, so that makes me feel pretty good.
So for the upcoming sessions, do you have any expectations on how you want them to run?
I think just in groups of like my stresses, like where they're coming from, like stress from my midterms, like the stress I put on my, well, the stress I get for putting pressure on myself, and how I feel like I'm sometimes it's good or bad pressure from others, and just applying for colleges. So like just the simple comes with it, good or bad, like if I get in or not.
Okay. Are you willing to work through that anxiety that you have about applying to college?
Yes, hopefully.
Well, it sounds like we have a good work relationship. Um, when do you want to meet up next?
Um, Same day next week, same time.
Yeah, that works for me.